looking at these two groups of text, these two segments, I could revise the world is going to be the larger component that stands on one layer all by itself. The smaller subtext that's going to be kind of one of the background elements, not unlike the pencils here, is going to be this no one is perfect. That is why pencils have erasers. And what I want to do is set this up sort of as a pattern or a design across the entire space. There are things that could be done with guides that, for example, if I do the math and divide 11 into thirds, it might look something like this. And if I then divided it into quarters, 8 1/2, about 4 1/4, and then it would be about 12 3/4, something about that. I could try to make this text fit into a single panel by doing something like this and then doing some effects. But I think what I'm actually going to try in this instance, I'm actually going to clear out those guides. What I think I'm going to do is actually have this text run in a straight line. Move that text box a little bit further over. All the way across. And if I go with the slightly larger point size like that, I think I'll be okay. The leading looks a little bit tight to me. As I increase the point size, the leading is actually at a value below the point size, which is bad. I'm going to make this about 50. So we have a bit of a gap. I'm going to go a little bit larger. I think I'm happy with that as it is. Zooming out with this one text layer, I see there's going to be some work involved, so I'm going to create a group folder. I'm going to drop the text into that, and then with this move tool I'm going to hold the Option key and drag down, Option key, drag down, Option key, drag down, and let's see what happens when we get to the bottom. Whoops. Okay, it doesn't quite fit. I will grab all of the layers in the group, and with the move tool active, I'm just going to press the up key, and it now just barely fits between top and bottom. I'm happy with that. I'll create a new layer. I want it to be below all of the text layers. And perhaps what I'll do first is coming to the pencils. Here's what's great about the group. If I turn off the group, it all goes away at once, everything inside. You can use the eyedropper here, and I'm going to grab what feels like a strong orange from the document. Turn the group back on, coming to that layer, paint bucket tool. I'm going to fill that with that orange color. And if I go from the bottom of the Y, in the word Y, to the bottom of the next one, and all the way across, I'm going to make a selection. I'll go to Add to Selection. Using the space bar once I start to drag that rectangle to adjust it. Need a little bit more. So, coming across here, nice. And then in these regions, I am going to grab, opposite of orange is blue. I'm going to make a guess that maybe it would be about a blue like that. Paint bucket tool, uncheck contiguous. I don't want it to fill one box. If contiguous is checked, it does fill all of them. Great. I now have started to break up that big field of information. Command D to deselect. Into the repetitiousness of the phrases by having it alternate between the orange and the blue and the black text. I've collapsed the group folder over here, and I'll call this, since that was the bot quote, BHATT quote, I've got that in a folder. And the idea is that my bigger quote, I could revise the world, will be something that interacts both with this layer and the pencil layer simultaneously. Maybe one last thing I'll do here is I have to do it to all the text. So I'll come to the first text layer, hold the Shift key, click on the last text layer, and instead of black, I'm going to make all that text white.